Hey, what is up guys, Spectro here, and I'm here to bring you another video on Warframe about the Ninkondi. What?
Start letting me know when you're doing that. It's not going to be just automatic just because you don't have homework or you have time.
Your job is to distract the enemy while a fellow Tenno operative raids the ship for much-needed supplies. Make your presence
Sorry guys about that. But today we'll be checking out the main section of the Ninkondi. Now the Ninkondi is the newest triggered weapon for update 17.4 for all platforms, yes, all. And is a nunchuck based weapon that starts off with 50 base electricity damage, and other than that, and of course, oh yeah, the 35% status chance. Other than that, its status isn't all, or its statistics aren't all that, but it's still a very overpowered weapon. And then Condi, as I said, features a 35% status chance, and since it's 50% electricity damage when you're first starting with it, it will what in the what? It will showcase a lot of stuns, which is really well, even off the bat with no mods, or if you just only have electric mods. Now, it's a great weapon as putting either corrosive or vital will always proc it. I would say corrosive more because it can stack off and defeat the higher end enemies better, which is more helpful for you end game, late game, any game that has enemies with a higher armor rating than the lighter units. For me personally, I did put blast. Well, the only other element you could put besides that was blast, as I do have all the other dual status melee mods that are in game on here. So the only thing else I could put on was blast, and that would include oh god, that would include voltaic strike at my first slot, then virulent scourge to give me the poison electric and the more status chance. Then with volcanic edge and vicious frost, I'll hit even more status chance and blast. And with all four of those, you will achieve 100% status chance, which means the Ninkondi will proc blast and corrosive with every hit. As you can see the blast really working, as with every enemy launched or killed at the last hit will proc blast. For most cases, I would say, unless it's killed by I guess the corrosive damage. But I was saying with that, you can tell that it's really I wouldn't go, even though you can put 100% blast, I wouldn't go for a finisher build, because this cast animation for the finisher is quite lengthy. So I would refrain from doing that, as if you're caught up in a big pile of mosh pit of people, you don't want to get caught up by cast animation that could kill you if you have a low frame or something. Now, what else I did put a Fury mod, even though if you do want to replace the Fury mod with something else, I mean, you can do that. Of course there's pressure point. Then there's also what else? I did put molten impact, or whatever it's called, the fire mod for melees, on here too, which puts the blast up, as since it's base electricity, any combination with electricity will be higher, so adding the blast kind of balances out, and you should get about with corrosive, you should get about 200 points or more with that, unless you put additional mods with just virulent scourge and voltaic strike. And then with volcanic edge, vicious frost, and molten impact, you should get about 200 blast too. Now, you can format this in other way, as putting magnetic, which is to be electric and ice, and then putting fire and poison, which both work really well against the I would say fairly well against the corpus, as the gas can, if you're in a big crowd at least, the gas can produce a cloud where as they walk through, they'll slowly take out poison proc. And then the magnetic will be cutting your shields, that if they do have a lot of health, which most don't. They have more shields, but the one magnetic proc isn't enough. Then proccing more would be and I guess the gas is more of the help. Versus the blast corrosive build where the blast actually like helps more. Other than that, I wouldn't build for I forget what is fire and electric. I can't remember. Or isn't that no? That's not magnetic. Or well, I wouldn't mod for fire and electric damage because I don't know. I mean, yes, cold and ice can work, or cold and poison. But honestly, what comes out of that, I don't really well. Honestly, say if you can do all three if you want, but I would say corrosive and heat should be your top priority. Now, the other mods you put on there actually depends on you. Preferably this build, I don't have life strike, but I would suggest if you're going to have a Warframe with low health or that doesn't have a lot of armor, stocky, like somebody that's not like pretty much anybody that's not Valkyrie, Rhino, Chroma, and all of them. And of course, when this is come out with PC, so not Tremor. I'm thinking of Mortal Kombat. Sorry about that. I should say Atlas. When he comes out, I would say he might not need the one with Life Strike. But yeah, others definitely will because this doesn't have a long hitbox. You really need to get up close and personal, and that could really open up for a split second. Can open up it can really open up or like the heavier units that can do the ground pounds to ground pound you. Except Atlas, of course, who can resist that and hit you while you're down. So like really, you really need the either the attack speed, because I have noticed putting attack speed, I don't know if somebody should test this, but may actually decide your recover speed while your melee is completely equipped, but I don't know. Like, I'm not entirely for sure. I have seen a slight difference that may or may not help depending on how you see fit. And then, of course, there's that where, like, there's a crowd of enemies and you can't hit them all in range or whatnot. So you might get knocked down. So then if you're getting hit multiple times on the ground, Life Strike can easily get you, like, right back on your feet. Now, I would say it does suffer from having not outputting enough damage per strike with Life Strike, as some, like, heavy weapons and more hard-hitting weapons where, like, you can channel once, hit any enemy, and be full health. Yeah, this really isn't the same. But I still say Life Strike is still worth it, as you can get that energy back pretty fast as, void missions or what have you. But overall, I really think the Ninkondi is like a really interesting weapon, as I can't think of another weapon that has this much status chance and still been this good. Like, I think not being impact, as most people thought it would be, and being electricity is the best because it can mod for corrosive and blast. And I would say, like, if it was ice, that wouldn't, like, yes, you can still mod for like corrosive and everything, but I just say I like it better with electricity because you can even go without the actual other status and just make it straight electricity, and you're still satisfied with the stun long enough where, like, if you're in a crowd of enemies, since it chains, it's actually really helpful because it will chain to multiple enemies and it will stun lock them. And since it's so fast and 100% status chance and all that, you still get, like, they're pretty much stunned for so long. You can get so many, like, hits into them that it's like they'll practically be stunned forever, or they might as well be. I mean, like, you gotta admit, that's a really awesome mechanic and everything. Why am I floating here? Okay. But yeah, if you do have, like, whether you want the master rank or just have the extra Argon, I would consider putting this up in your, like, top tier list to get. Even putting a catalyst, especially, I would say you're probably going to need a catalyst unless you just want straight status, but you're probably going to want that pressure point to get everything else up. Because, if you're in a crowd like I am, your abilities might not work. But yeah, please, if you enjoyed the video, like, subscribe, and share for more, guys. And peace out. Spectre Wolf signing out. Deuces.